We're going to do a quick video breaking down running back Omarion Hampton. Now, Omarion Hampton is a classic power back. He looks to be taken at the top of the National Football League's 2025 draft out of North Carolina. And, he's a guy that a lot of people think could be better than Ashton Jeanty. Now, I don't necessarily know about that. There's some concerns about, his vision as far as, in open space. He doesn't really have that kind of wiggle when he gets out in the open space. But, man, he's the prototypical size, big body back, downfield runner. So here we go. When you talk about Omarion Hampton, he's a true workhorse running back. Bigger body guy, about 20 pounds heavier than Ashton Jeanty. This video is about Hampton, so, let's kind of focus more on him. But he has the second highest percentage in total touches in college football with 44% of the touches. Second highest percentage in total receptions on his team with 17%. And he's the second best running back in the last decade in yards per carry when hit behind the line of scrimmage. So this is a guy who is a powerful back. He's a guy who can run through contact. He kind of fits the mold of a more classic every down slashing running back. Think like a guy like a Frank Gore or Adrian Peterson, guys like that, right? But this is the thing, man. When you talk about that kind of explosiveness, right? And you talk about the size and all those measurables. And these were some of the things that I initially liked about Omarion Hampton. The more that I look into Omarion Hampton's tape, I see that there's just a different level of vision. Now, when I look at him, and now we're going to bring Ashton Jeanty up, or Ashton Jeanty, Jeanty's vision is incredible. And that's just something you can't teach. Now, you can get better at it with film work and just experience, but I don't see that out of Hampton. And I think I have to amend, wanting Hampton on the Raiders over Jeanty, man. I mean, Jeanty is a guy that is looking like a top 3 offensive player in this upcoming draft. And my mind is opening up more and more and more to us drafting a running back in the first round, as long as he's effective and he's special. Now, when it comes to Omarion Hampton is a guy that I have him ranked as a top 15 guy in this draft. But the thing is this, man, I don't see what I wanted to see out of him. I've been, before I did this short, I said, let me stop being objective. Let me stop looking at just highlights. Let me really, really look. And there's a difference between these guys, man. There's a big difference, man. There's a big difference. Now, if you want to talk about potential and measurables, then Hampton's your guy. But if you want to talk about just straight film and who's a better running back, Jeanty is definitely a better running back than Omarion Hampton. Now, this is the thing, man. Everybody knows that in the National Football League, it's a league of trends. Now, this past year, the years that Saquon Barkley had, the years that Derrick Henry had, just the resurgence all around for the running back is one of the main reasons why you're going to start seeing teams swing high on running backs. It's not going to be anymore to where you only have, 1 or 2 guys drafted or featured in an offense throughout the league. Even though this is a passing league, I think football is trending back more towards traditional concepts. And for this reason, I think Omarion Hampton is definitely going to be a first rounder as well. So when you talk about Hampton, right, you're talking about a guy who's a violent finisher, runs with outstanding pad level and leverage, reliable hands out of the backfield, very, very good receiver, physical pass protector as well, decent blocker, man. He has a willingness to stick his nose in there and hit people. You don't see any lack of physicality. He kind of reminds me of the more classic running backs of the earlier 2000s, Think guys like, Deuce McAllister. Outstanding finishing. He falls forward through contact, man. So he's a guy that's going to pick up a lot of first downs for you. And any team would be glad to have this guy as a running. There's several running backs in this draft that, if you ask me, I'd be ecstatic if we got both kids from Ohio State, him or Austin Jeanty. But let me tell you something, man. This guy is phenomenal. Now we got to talk about some of the cons, right? Sometimes he lacks creativity and space, so he doesn't show that shake and that wiggle that you might want to see from a running back when they get out into space. You know, he's kind of like a straightforward kind of a runner. His long speed is very, very good, but it's not elite. He gets caught from behind a lot, and while in pass pro, he needs to improve his hand placement a little bit. But these are just some of the things that I see from Mr. Hampton. To be honest with you, if the Raiders were to trade down and select him, I'd be happy. But at 6, I would venture to say he might be a little overdrafted, you know. But listen, guys, you know, Hampton is a guy that you got to recognize, because even though, you know, I said something about his long speed, you got to get into his actual speed. The 40 time. Now, a 4.46 40 means that pretty much anytime this guy touches the football, once he gets out into the open field, he is gone. The problem with Omarion Hampton is will he be able to break with that limited vision and get into the open field to get out there to try to, you know, take off? Now, we've had a running back in Las Vegas named Zamir White, who is a powerful back, bigger back, has a lot of speed, but he was never able to kind of put it together for the Raiders because of the vision aspect of things, right? So, look, when you talk about the Raiders possibly taking a running back around 1, there are a lot of people that are against that. I would prefer, because of the kind of draft this is, for the Raiders to possibly look elsewhere. But if they were to take a running back, these are the 2 guys that you probably would red circle. Now, some would say Jeanty being 5'8", you know, being that kind of smaller, kind of an archetype of a back, you might want to look at a Hampton, right? Hampton looks the part, like I said earlier in this video, but I'm going to be 100% real with you guys. The gap between Jeanty and Hampton, as far as on an on-field perspective, vision, cutting, speed, all those things, I think the gap is a little wider, you know, when it comes to a tape perspective. Now, when you're talking about a physical guy that you're going to bring in the National Football League that fits that archetype, maybe Hampton's game might translate better to the NFL. But for what I can see, for me doing the work on these guys, you know, there's a much bigger gap than a lot of people would like to lead on to. So listen, guys, would I be upset if the Raiders moved back and took Hampton? No. Would I want the Raiders to take Hampton at 6? Absolutely not. But what I will tell you is that somebody is going to be happy with taking either one of these guys, because I think both these guys are going to be successful at the next level. I just think with Omarion Hampton, you know, the vision aspect is something that he's gonna have to work on to be explosive. If he can get that fixed, the sky's the limit for this kid. But listen, if you guys like what you hear, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're in a race to 14K. We're only 200 away. Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. I am out.